Welcome back. We'll pick up right where we left off in regards to peer on peer safeguarding. Peer on peer abuse should never be tolerated or minimized as banter or part of growing up. You may have heard phrases like boys will be boys, or that student's just going through puberty right now, or those girls, they're just in a mean girl phase. No, we expect boys to be respectful and girls to be respectful. Everybody in our school is held to the same high expectations. We don't ever excuse peer on peer abuse for any of the reasons stated, like gender or age. It doesn't dictate our expectations for how students treat each other. Remember, behavior is information. Oftentimes, peer on peer abuse is a result of students trying to tell us something, so make sure you're listening. The Children and Young Persons Act, the CYPA of Singapore, was first enacted in 1949 and last amended in 2011 to provide for the welfare, care, protection, and rehabilitation of children under 16. Recently, an amended law includes the youth court's jurisdiction to hear cases involving offenders below 18 compared to 16 currently. You'll never guess this. What's the age of criminal responsibility in Singapore? This means at what age can you be held accountable for your actions? What do you think? Could it be 18, 15, maybe 13? Surprisingly, no, it is actually 10, and most recently it used to be 7. Transitioning onto photos of CIS students. They should not be stored on your personal devices for any reason. If you take a picture for school use to share with marketing or to document an injury, please pass this on to your contact person so it can be stored on a school server. If you take a photo, it goes on the school server, then you delete it off your device. Don't keep student pictures on your phone. We want to make sure you're keeping your phone locked as well. Oftentimes, as adults, we may leave our phone here and there when we're in the middle of supporting students, but that's not a good practice. Make sure you keep your phone on you and keep your phone locked. An anecdotal story I will share with you to help illuminate this is why this is so important. A couple years ago at a child protection training, an FBI agent told the story about a student who took a picture of their own genitalia on the teacher's phone. That student then reported that this teacher had images of him on his phone. The student, for some reason, was upset with the teacher. Thankfully, after much investigation, the truth finally came out. This is why it's good practice to keep your phone on you and locked. Our facilities. Washrooms are designated as being either for adult use or student use throughout the school. Adults are not permitted to use student bathrooms unless designated otherwise by administration. In areas where they are designated as adult or child only, it doesn't mean that we don't supervise the restrooms. Remember that peer on peer abuse is the most common form of abuse, and that does happen in washrooms and change rooms. Now we'll move on to disclosure and allegation. Think about what are some of the reasons a person might not report an instance of abuse. You may be thinking things like shame, fear, lack of understanding, or not having a trusted adult. You may have a few more right now that you're thinking about why a student would not report. It is important that at CIS we create an environment that welcomes students sharing with us if they've experienced a form of abuse. Please watch along with me for how to respond when a child does disclose abuse to us.
It's never easy when a young person discloses abuse. There are probably 1,000 things going through your head, from trying to remember your organisation's safeguarding procedure, to asking the right questions, should you be asking questions at all? But no matter how anxious you're feeling, it's worth remembering that most young people only choose to talk to someone they really trust. So chances are you're already doing something right. Whatever the situation, here are a few simple things you can do to create a safe space for a better conversation. Help them open up. For some children, talking about abuse can be scary. You need to show them that you care and that you are listening to what they say. This can be as simple as changing your body language, and avoid anything that can make you seem distracted or distant. Keep your focus on them. They're the most important thing right now. Slow down and take your time. This chat might only be a small part of the disclosure. They could just be testing the water, so let them go at their own pace. Even if the gaps in the conversation feel awkward to you, It's their story. Give them time to tell it. Reflect back and show you understand by simply going through what they've told you already. If possible, use their language. The specific words they use are an important part of their narrative. And although it's easy to jump to conclusions, or even solutions, right now they just need to feel listened to. You can practice these techniques whenever someone's telling you a story, helping them to open up, slowing things down, and reflecting back in everyday conversations won't just make you a better listener, but will also prepare you for when a disclosure does happen. It could change a young person's life. It's never easy when a young person discloses.
Now we're going to move on to disclosure. Your job is to listen, not investigate when a student does approach you to disclose something. A student should never be given the impression that they're creating a problem or be made to feel ashamed. Also, don't promise confidentiality, as it's very likely that the information will have to be shared with others. Avoid leading questions. You're going to listen carefully, pass no judgment, and again, try not to ask those yes or no questions. The more open ended, the better. As you listen, try to create a written record of the student's account, but don't allow this to get in the way of supporting your student. The report and the writing can wait if they need to. If a child tries to show you an image, do not view or forward an illegal image of a child. Collect the device and turn it into your contact person. And finally, this is the most important piece no matter what. Inform the child protection officer as soon as possible and within 24 hours. Make sure they are the first person you get in touch with if an incident of child abuse is disclosed to you. I'll get to who you report to specifically in a moment. That person will then follow up with the appropriate staff member or members. And finally, reporting and documentation. We're committed to creating a climate of trust and openness. Our professional obligation is to report. Our disclosures will be treated with confidentiality. You're not expected to prove an allegation, but we will expect you to put your concerns in writing. CIS will not collude to protect an adult or our organization. We will always put the student's best interest first. Your first point of contact will depend on which program you are working in currently. For holiday programs, you will report to Wendy Nussey. For the vocal and instrumental programs, you will report to Tom Anderson. For after-school activities, it is Sabura Yusuf. And finally, for the competitive sports program, you will report to Tengu Darwis.